Let's catch up with Alastair Donald, Associate Director of the Academy for Ideas. Alastair, I mean, look, you've got people week in, week out at these pro-Palestinian marches saying globalise the intifada, saying from the river to the sea, shouting all sorts of things, which I'm pretty much sure would be translated as blatant anti-Semitism, if not trying to incite a genocide. And yet a Christian is just doing what a Christian's supposed to do, which is going around and telling people, have you heard the good news? Jesus came to save your soul. But also basically saying, God bless the Jews, God bless the Palestinians as well. Why was this person arrested? Why?
In short, because we've got a very serious Public Order Act that allows people to be arrested for these innocuous utterances in the public sphere. I mean, it's obviously an outrage. I think you're right that there's a two-tier element to this, in that there's different people that are treated differently depending on what they're saying and who potentially is on the receiving end of what they're saying. It's just a classic hate speech crime in the sense that people can say the most innocuous things. They can then be interpreted by the person on the receiving end, so it's a completely subjective viewpoint as to what's been said and how, whether it causes offence or distress or whether it's hateful or so on and so forth, and they can end up being arrested for it. In this case, the guy's been arrested 16 times across recent years for, as you say, the most innocuous things. And we really have to, I think, stand up now and say it really is time to end some of these laws that allow this to happen. I mean, it really has got to that stage.
But even if these laws exist, and I agree with you, they really should not, it's the application of them, it's the dim-wittedness of the police, it's the fact, and this is what I find the most chilling, it's the fact that increasingly in the 21st century, it doesn't matter if a Muslim points at the sky and says Allahu Akbar, right? Which most people find slightly creepy because they've heard it said a lot of times when bombs have gone off. Now, actually, frankly, God is great isn't offensive to anybody, okay? And people should be, if you want to say Allahu Akbar and point at the sky, fine, be my guest. It is going to freak out certain people in a shopping centre, but whatever. But what isn't funny is we currently live in a world where we are seeing active genocides against Christians, where everything that Christianity once represented, the glue that held our society together, the moral structure of our culture, has been eroded and has been constantly under attack. And if we now live in a Christian nation where our monarch is the head of the church and a Christian preacher can't go out and preach the Bible to people in his hometown, that to me is much, much more than just having hate crime laws. There's something else going on here.
Well, as it happens, I'm not too keen on Palestinian supporters or protesters being arrested either. So I think there's a kind of bigger problem here in that the laws of the land have descended into this ridiculous situation where we fundamentally view the public and what they say as potentially harmful, as offensive, as and this is the important bit. It's a decision that reflects our own perception of ourselves as unable to deal with ideas and what is said, which I think is nonsense. I mean, we've dealt with difficult ideas and even hateful language for a long time now. There is a two-tier approach to it. I think you're right in that, in that the Palestinian protesters are far likely to be arrested. But they should have in my view, they should have the right to say what they want as well. I mean, obviously there's a boundary here, and sometimes that boundary, a serious boundary, is crossed. But by and large, for any speech, I think anybody should have the right to say what it is that they want. And we, as the people potentially on the receiving end of that speech, need to toughen up and grow up a little bit and not go running off to the police. I mean, this guy was arrested on the basis of a single phone call to the police. So there's something going wrong here, that someone can make a call, out come the police, arrest him, spent his 6 days in court at whatever cost that was, 20 grand or whatever it was, and the jury acquitted him in 90 minutes, and that actually included when they were out for their lunch as well. So obviously it didn't take very much time to make that acquittal, because the flimsy nature of the evidence is there for all to see. And juries, and let's be thankful for juries in this situation, because they're the people that often actually are the people that do see the ridiculousness of these laws. Because as you you point out, the police are the first to wade in and arrest people on the pretense of not very much at all. So I think the problem really is the laws and the existence of these laws, and they exist because society and the culture that we live in is now so keen and eager to take offence, and that then becomes the pretense for shutting down speech.
There's also a liberal lefty disgust against Christianity. Alastair Donald, thank you ever so much, Associate Director of the Academy of Ideas. Let's